Hello everyone, this weekend's boxing. Quite a busy weekend actually in the UK with one good televised show on DAZN Saturday night in Bournemouth. What I'm doing right now, while I'm small talking and telling you I'm about to go away for the weekend. Well, actually I went away, I was away from yesterday, but it's birthday next week, so we're actually this weekend. What day is it? Anyway, right. There's one show in America worth talking about. Not worth talking about, but like people will be familiar with the names. So we'll start with tonight on Friday in Northampton. Ethan James is boxing actually. And Ethan James, I really like Ethan James. If he was a puncher, and I don't think he'll mind me saying he's not a puncher because he's had 13 wins with no stoppages. But if he was a puncher, he'd be really, really good actually. He's a really good boxer, Ethan James. I think he's really good. Interestingly, he's 13-2. He's just boxed there, so he's had some good wins. He's boxing a fellow who's had one and won it. Called Kaya Preston, I believe his name is. He's only 21. So in his second pro fight, he's boxing a former champion, good fighter. Unsure why that's a weird match. 13-2 against 1-0. Not seen nothing like that before. Is Preston really good? Very weird match. 13-2, 1-0. I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but Ethan James is good. Tysel, Walfall, Badur Karami, Nico Michael, Stephen Jackson, Yaya Abdullah, Eric Omar Lopez, Clinton Baptiste, Calamai, Charlie Hamilton, Naeem Ali, and Denis Zakiev and Johnny McInnes. How many of them 10 names did I pronounce wrong? I'm going to go 3, maybe 4. But yeah, interesting. Ethan James against a 1-0 kid, but I'm not going to dwell on it. Right, big card of the weekend is at Bournemouth International Centre tomorrow, live on DAZN. It is a 10-fight card. We'll start at the top of the bill. Ryan Garner and Reece Balotti. A really good fight, I presume, for the British, Commonwealth and European, and I presume correctly. Garner's only 27. I remember talking about Ryan Garner when he first turned pro. And it weren't me. I didn't know who we were, but people were telling me, like, this kid from Southampton, Garner, is fucking shit up. And I always say to people, oh, Garner is going to be world champion. And then I think he had a few problems with a few things, and he didn't really kick on. But the last couple of years, he really has started to kick on. Beat Juan Jesus, Antonez, Liam Dillon, Archie Sharp, and then won the European title last time out. He's a really good fighter, Garner, really, really good. In Balotti, he faces an old pro, 20-5. He's on a good run. He looked dumb, Balotti. I remember speaking to Balotti a few years ago. We were like the old matching fighters, really. And we were both kind of done. After he lost to Ford, I was already retired at this point. I remember talking to him and we were like, shit, innit, boxing? And now he's won 6 on the bounce. Dean Dodge, Kamari, Fiaz, Dillon, Giles and Gomez Jr. So he's on a cracking run, really, domestically. As for this fight, who will win? Well, I don't know Garner, but I'm a bit of a fan of him. But I like Balotti a lot. I'd probably go for the youth of Garner. Balotti, heavy-handed, awkward. But Garner's not been beaten. Garner could go further, could go a level beyond this. So I'm going to have to go Garner. And I feel bad for saying that, but I'm going to go Garner on points. Balotti's a tough old bloke. Chief support, Alois Jr. Against Ellis Zorro. I seen the press conference. Didn't like the press conference. I'm reliably informed Alois is actually a very nice man. And I'm sure he is. I met him last week at Wembley. I shook his hand. He seemed like a nice fella. Lost his debut, turned it around since then. He's on a good little run. Ellis Zorro I like a lot, though. I think he's a good fighter. I think he only had 3 amateur fights, I was told. I've seen him coming through. I thought, oh, he's all right. And then I watched him in that tournament. And I thought, bloody hell, he's good. Then I watched him against Spellman and Burton. Then he watched the Italian fella. I know he's lost to Appetite, but that don't count. Siobhan Clark, I thought we were going to have something to think about. So, I like Zorro. I think he's a good pro. I think to say his experience, he fights like a really experienced fighter. Them 2 stoppage defeats make you think, will Alois it too hard for him? But I like Zorro. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's really good. I think he'll make it hard work for Alois, to be honest. I think he'll go a lot longer than people think. I think he'll go the distance. I think it'd be a big prediction going for Zorro. But I think Zorro will give him a lot to think about, definitely. I think he's got the kind of style you need to have against Alois. Be a bit negative and stuff and mess him around. Good fight, though. Very good fight. Then we've got Carl Fail against Amir Abu Baker, I think. My pronunciation is terrible. I do apologise if I get your name wrong. Fail hasn't boxed for nearly 2 years. And before that, he's a decent fighter. Like, he's not a bad fighter. He's a good fighter. But this fella whose name I've just absolutely got completely wrong is an handful. I've watched him box a few times. I watched him against Serge Ambamo. I've watched him a couple of times. Really strong, tough. I know he's been trying Shaquille Thompson, and they gave me good reviews of him, said he's good. I'm not sure who is the favourite, actually. I presume it's Fail, being the Warren fighter. But I'm going to go for the upset. Yeah, I'm going to go for the upset. I think Fail will get beat. Will he get stopped? I'm not sure, but I think he'll get beat. Mason Payne against Octavian Gratai. I've watched Gratai loads of times. He's hard and good and decent. Never seen Payne. Taylor Bevan against Zdenko Boulay. Is that his name? Possibly not. But Bevan's really good. It's good to see him on the show. Like, obviously, he's a matchroom fighter, but because he's close to him, they put him on a Warren show. Brilliant. Again, though, look, Bevan's good. He's had 4 fights. He's stopped them all. He needs to be boxing better than this. Bevan will stop him. It's a waste of time, really. It is what it is. I have to say, it's a waste of time. He'll go for him in a round or 2. What's the point? John Isaacs against Christian Lopez Flores. I've watched a bit of John Isaacs, actually, because he boxed. Suwaida Mohammed boxed last week. But Lopez Flores is there to do his job. As is Cesar Ignacio Paredes, who actually is a decent little fighter, who fights Frankie Wood, who I've not seen. Then the debut of Hassan Ishak. He fights Brandon Gallardo Vargas, who, looking at his record, will be tough, but probably lose on points. The other 2 fights, which aren't matched, is Tony Curtis. I remember, actually, the only young kid, Tony Curtis. He trained at Ingles Inn for a bit. I met him a few times. Nice kid. He looks like he's been boxing in Thailand, Dubai, Mexico. He's been everywhere boxing. Fair play. Been everywhere. But yeah, he gets his debut in Britain. So that'll be interesting. And then cruiserweight Iman. I'm not even going to attempt that, am I? Iman Zamatkash. I think fought Pat Brown in the ABA final, actually. So good amateur. I watched him as a pro a couple of times. 3 stoppages out of 4. So hopefully he gets matched and he boxes, because he'll be good to watch. So yeah, I'm going to go Garner points. I think Carl Fail will get beat by Amir Abu Baker. Zorro, I think, will give Alois a good fight. And apart from that, it's just prospects against genuine, really. But the top 3 fights are really good fights. They're good fights, really good. Yeah, the rest of it, all a load of just like standard journeyman prospect stuff. So it's not the most exciting stuff in the world. But the top 3 fights, definitely worth a watch. And you might get an upset or 2 as well. Now, finishing off in Oldham, there is an 8-fight card. Nathan Shepherd, Marcus Tomlinson for the Airy title at middleweight. Aaron Hayden, Adam Carberry for the Airy title at super bantam. This is at Oldham Leisure Centre. Anyone wants to watch that? Max Curtis, a bit of sparring with some of my lads. He's a very fit kid, Max Curtis. Jake Turner, Alex Carter, Connor Ward, Stephen Nunes and Connor Taylor make up that bill in the home corner. There's a show at the Tallworth Recreation Centre. Joanna Wanyu against Mary Romero. It's actually a good fight, to be fair. That is a good fight. Wanyu can fight. She's pretty good. And Romero, who is now 11-8. I believe she's a former world title challenger, Romero. She is. Good fight, to be fair. Shamari Henry, Jaheed Maneem, Daniel Salmon, and Awais Hussein makes up the rest of that bill. Now, here's a good fight. Kings Hall, Stoke-on-Trent. The main event is Heaney and Dennis, but Ben Vaughan, Bobby Dalton will be an absolute cracker. Ben Vaughan, box Esserman, stopped on hunting around. Ben Vaughan's really good. Bobby Dalton's been down sparring Joe Hayden 3 times. He's as fit, Bobby Dalton, as anyone I've ever seen. As fit as anyone I've ever seen. Work rate off the charts. Ben Vaughan does have quality though. And he's fit in game as well. As long as that lasts, that'll be a cracker, because they will knock 10 bells of shit out of each other. Heaney Dennis, I expect Heaney will win. I like that Dennis. I met him in Sheffield, nice fella. Lewis Lawton's on. Lewis Lawton's a very good fighter, as was his dad. Shauna Brown, she's a good fighter. She's on. Ollie Cooper, Connor Parker, and Levi Vaughan. There's a show at Rainton Meadows, which is Horton Springs, Sunderland way. I would call that Sunderland. I boxed there once. I thought it was in Sunderland. Jason Cumming boxes Alicia Cazada. Then there's Jay Pierce, Bo Smith, Josh Blankyron, Liam Coppin, and Joe Tyers there. And there's also a show, I think that's a bare knuckle show in Wolverhampton. I think it is. I could be wrong. But I'm not. So that's nice. So yeah, that's the show. Loads of boxing. Northampton tonight, parking. Tomorrow you got Bournemouth International Centre, Oldham Leisure Centre, Tallworth Recreation Centre, Kings Hall in Stoke, Raton Meadows Arena, Horton Spring. And there's a bare knuckle show at the Hangar Sports events venue in Wolverhampton. So yeah, some good boxing, good fighters on the small hall there. 3 very good fights. Bournemouth on the DAZN show. I do think that fella could beat Carfield, to be honest. I think he's really good. Zorro Alois is a good fight. Garner Balotti is a cracker. On the small hall, yeah, Joanna Wanyu, Romero is a very, very good fight. As is Ben Vaughan, Bobby Dalton. Heaney's on at Stoke. So Shauna Brown, Lewis Lawton. Jade Pierce and Joe Tyers were very good amateurs there on the show at Rainton Meadows. So yeah, an interesting weekend of boxing in the UK. Now in America, so yeah, actually two good cards. Bruce Carrington fights Matheus Hayter. Carrington very, very, very good. That's for the interim world featherweight title. Xander Zayas also fighting Jorge Garcia Perez for the WBO World Super Welterweight title. So, will I watch that? I'll be in bed asleep, sadly. But very, very good fighters there, to be fair. Really, really good. But because it's in America, I don't pay as much mind to it because I'm always asleep. And we'll finish off with the World Heavyweight title fight. The not quite undisputed because they're missing the WBA. But the IBF, WBC, WBF and the WBO World Heavyweight titles on the line with Claressa Shields fights Lani Daniels 11-2-2, who has a draw with a woman who's 1-6 and 1-6-1. So Claressa Shields is fantastic. I think she's brilliant. Like, I watch Claressa Shields box a few times, well, more than a few times, a lot. And she's an outstanding fighter, but the women she's boxing up at heavyweight, they're not in a stratosphere. They're not even within 10 levels of her. So, but that's just how it is. There's not many heavyweights about, really. How many heavyweights is there in the world at heavyweight for the women? 38. So, and she just beat the number 2 last time. She beat her 10 rounds to 0 with a knockdown. So it's hard for Shields, but she's bloody good, like. But yeah. So that is this weekend's boxing. Thank you very much for watching.